Okay, we're gonna talk about some native ads tips and tricks. Some of them are going to be quite simple and you may know them, and some of them are going to be insider stuff. Okay, let's start. It's going to be fast. First one, using descriptions. Descriptions is something quite new with Tabula. It's basically allowing you to expand your ad. It's allowing you to create ads that would attract more CTR, more clicks basically. That's something I highly recommend. It should be open soon for everyone, or it is open soon. I don't think every publisher currently supports that. Something definitely to do. Second one is, I think you need a Raft for that, but I know Tabula and those platforms are releasing new features that change the way the algo works. So instead of just launching campaign and having the algorithm do exactly the same thing over and over and just serve you to a bunch of publishers, if you're using SmartBid or something similar in another platform like Tabula, then you're gonna get some traffic, it's going to create some traction, and then it's going to get some conversions and make decisions according to that. The thing is that Tabula also has different products that help you just explore certain number of highly scalable with high inventory publishers. It serves the ad there, and it basically goes into a different exploration phase, so you don't really have to spend tons and tons of money on different publishers that may not even be scalable once they start converting. It just kills the long tail of like tons of publishers and stuff. I think the product is called Exploration something with exploring. It's quite new. Okay, so it would just accelerate by a lot the time you need in order to know if the campaign is likely to be profitable, is likely to convert and reach the CPA goal that you need or not. You're gonna save a lot of money, and also you're gonna help the SmartBid algorithm to learn a lot faster, so you would be able to just like save tons of money with this feature. Number 3, remember, when you're using the SmartBid, even if you don't get conversions right away, you need to understand that you have to wait, okay? Even if you don't get conversions from a specific publisher that might be a very big publisher that would attract a lot of fire and give you a lot of clicks, the system is still learning. It's not learning as fast as Facebook or Google. You need to remember, this is native ads. It needs a lot of clicks, a lot of conversions to make any type of decision. Give it some time. There are so many times where I got tons of clicks from one publisher and it didn't convert, but it started converting at the right CPA after 5 days, and at least at the start you need to give it some time. And if I would have closed those publishers that didn't convert right away, I would have just like, or maybe bid adjusted, like decreased or increased the bid, I would have ruined the learning process for the system and would have got stuck later on in a place where the system might give me some conversions, but it's not scalable, and I basically would rather be just like opening up a new account. Number 4, the number of creatives, and this is something that a lot of marketers talk about. Some like to use tons of creatives, some don't really like to use a lot of creatives. The maximum number of creatives, or even the recommended number, would be anywhere between 4 to 6 creatives. I know a lot of you are A/B test freaks, and you're just junkies with like wanting to test all of your creatives for this campaign. But when we're uploading more than 6, a lot of times we're not really testing anything. I'd highly suggest uploading only 6 creatives, making sure they get some traffic, pausing 3 that were the least performing ones, and then adding 3 every time you want to allow the system to test them out. Considering that when you run a smart bid campaign, it's not going to allow you to rotate ads equally. So I mean, the option is there, but it's just really not recommended when you're using a smart bid. Number 5, high bids could potentially improve your CTR. Okay, so it's just a game of placements, and since you don't really see the placements that you're getting inside a specific publisher, giving it a higher bid might compete at a higher level of a placement, which would create a different scenario in terms of conversion rates and also in terms of CTR, which will directly impact the CPC, your cost per click. Okay, so that would potentially improve your conversion rate just because you're going to get better placements, but it could also lead to lower CPCs because if one of those placements would give you higher CTR and then the system doesn't really know, because it has like, just imagine how many placements, how many publishers, how many placements inside each publisher, it's going to give you that really higher score in terms of CTR, and then it's going to help you with scalability and also lowering the CPC. If you're using fixed bid, that's amazing because you can lower the CPC of the whole campaign or that specific publishers. So you're going to pay less, and just because Tabula has now moved to second bid auction, just like Google, it's also a method that a lot of people are using just to get the higher scores and just like get higher CTR and then lower the CPC, and that's it. Number 6, when we're using fixed bid, my strategy would be starting with a high bid just because of what I just said, okay? And then every 3 days I'm lowering the bid by 5 to 15% till I see what the system is having trouble sometimes with spending all the budget or something like that. So I'm gonna, for example, we have $1,000 daily cap. I'm gonna give it the high CPC, let it run for like 1 to 3 days, lower the CPC, see if it gets to 1,000 the next day. After 1 to 3 days, lower the CPC by 5 to 15% till I see the system doesn't really use the full daily budget, and then I can start manually decrease or bid adjust each and every publisher. Number 7, find a list, and this is such a big thing. Okay, it's quite simple, but it could help you save so much money. Okay, find a list of bad publishers and just block them right away. Okay, just right from the get-go, when you open up the campaign, you have the ability to close specific publishers, at least with Tabula. Just put the list there. If you have a rep, I think you could just batch implement it into the campaign. It's just like bad publishers. Okay, and how you're gonna end up with that list, which is basically kind of like a white list, just like the opposite. You could get it sometimes from your representative when he looks at other accounts, other campaigns, and he could basically tell you, okay, those are really bad publishers that most people just block. Or you could just find the list online. A lot of people are posting the bad publishers that they've had. But of course, the third option would just use your own experience, and that's the best option also because you're using what's worked for this specific campaign. So there's nothing better than that. Just like make sure you copy those bad publishers from the campaigns that didn't work, copy them to the new ones. 8, remember guys, natives are not as smart as Facebook or Google. You need to make sure you give the system enough time to learn the campaign in terms of conversions. Okay, I think the minimum amount of conversions the system needs would be something like 70 now. But what I'm trying to say is you want to have a lot more data than you would have had inside Google or a Facebook campaign, a lot more clicks and conversions to base any decision on. Okay, the campaign is going to fluctuate in the first 2 weeks so much, it's gonna wait until the system really finds the specific category of behavior and users, and sometimes it doesn't, and sometimes you have to open up so many campaigns that are duplicates, but once you hit that, the system would just like keep giving you more and more of that specific audience. Number 9, we're getting to the end, and I'm gonna ask you right now, guys, make sure you like and subscribe to this channel and this video. This is extremely important, okay? If you have reached here, you must like the content. This is extremely important for me to be motivated. I'm writing those texts, filming them, and editing them. Make sure you like and subscribe right now, okay? So number 9, always try at least one ad with dynamic parameter, okay? So this is where you can just add dynamically into the creative, into the text, anything from the location the user is at or something like that. That's kind of like a small essential trick for boosting CTR, and I'm sure a lot of you already know that, but when I consult people and I see the accounts, sometimes people just like completely forget it. Make sure you have at least one ad that's like that. Number 10, when you're using Smart Bid, try not to manually adjust the bid for each publisher, okay? At least at the start. This is even more important when you're just like starting out, okay? So either change the whole campaign bid or just close those publishers if you see that the CPA is a lot higher than what you expect, okay? The reason for that is when you're already using Smart Bid, the system is already doing the bid adjustments, and I think you can even open up inside systems and platforms like Tabula the columns and see the bid modifier. So the system really changes the bid anyway, and you're just interfering with that, and that could ruin the learning process if you're just opening up that campaign, or ruin the scalability ability of basically your campaign. So just make sure you're doing that. Thank you guys. Make sure you like and subscribe.